record. Perfect. All right, welcome to Create Deeper Connections with Facebook Messenger. Sorry to be all bugged up today. It's been a month of absolute illness. I can't even believe it, but here you go. My name is Finn Wycherley of Supersize Media. I am obviously going to be telling you all about how to use Messenger. Messenger basically is a feature of Facebook. So if you've got Facebook, you will automatically have Messenger as well. And one of the main reasons why you want to use Facebook Messenger, because that's essentially where people go to direct message businesses, but direct message you as a person as well. So this is a part of the Facebook platform, which is very, very powerful for businesses. And yet a lot of businesses are not aware. And when I say businesses, I also mean charities and social enterprises. But a lot of organizations are not necessarily aware of all the functionality that you can have within the Messenger tool. All right, so today what we're going to cover is using Messenger to connect with your customers, making it easier for your customers to find you, engaging your customers with your messages, and managing your communications on the go with Facebook Business Suite. All right. So why is Facebook Messenger so powerful for business? Well, basically because there's about 20 billion people exchanging Messenger. That's getting very confusing. Exchanging messages on the platform every month and that's the conversations that are going between people and businesses. As a reminder, there are 3.5 billion people using the Facebook suite of tools. That's Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and everything. So that's the number one reason why you want to be using these tools, whether you love them or you hate them, whether you think they're run by the devil or not. They're still extremely important tools to be able to communicate with your community. And obviously you can find them, all your prospects, all your clients through things like Facebook, and develop and nurture the relationship through Messenger, and then bring them into the other platforms that you feel are more suitable for your communication. But it's an invaluable tool for all businesses because that's where the vast majority of humanity spends most of their time online. So basically, businesses are already seeing success on Messenger, and you can use it particularly on your mobile phone as well as on desktop. So you could be running your business when you're out at the shops, waiting in the line, as well as when you're sitting in the office poring over your spreadsheets. So it's fantastic for being able to raise awareness. One of the things that you will notice if you start using Messenger is that if you open it up, you will see that within the list of all the activities and all the people that are kind of speaking to you, every so often, there's an ad that comes in there. So that's every kind of 10 messages that come into you, there's an ad that comes in, which is specifically directed at you based on your digital footprint. So therefore, if you're somebody who has interacted with my business in the past, you might see an ad coming at you straight into your Messenger inbox. So it's very, very powerful for being able to get that communication going, get people to be aware of you. But warning, use it carefully because obviously people look at their inbox as a very kind of private space. And when they see like loads of ads coming in, it can feel like quite invasive. It's just like, you know, all those kind of invasive telephone calls that come at you. You have to do it very judiciously and very carefully. So it's fantastic for raising awareness. For getting people to understand and know that you exist, which is one of the main things that is beneficial for using social media. It's fantastic for generating leads, you know, because when you use the ads, you know, you set up the ads and you say, okay, I want to make sure that this type of person sees this message. You won't know who they are until they hand over their email or start interacting with your content. So that's when the second stage of your sales process happens. And you're now starting to generate leads. That means handing over emails or people giving over their data and information. And of course, once people have decided that you're a fantastic organization that they want to be able to work with, or they want to purchase from you as opposed to any other organization that they've come across, then this is a surefire way to actually increase massive amount of sales. And then, of course, in that whole sales and customer service process, then you're able to provide lots and lots of support through the Facebook Messenger system. So along with this presentation, you also have a worksheet if you wish. Just give me a shout and I will make sure you get it. And if you have a Facebook page, you're already on Messenger, as I was saying. So that doesn't matter if you're only using Facebook your Facebook business page on your mobile or on your desktop. And basically, it's that place where you can send a message. So ultimately, as businesses, you want to be able to encourage communication with your customers as much as possible. Think about it this way. If you have a particular coach or consultant or guru that you've been watching some of their content coming up lately, and you message them about something that you've seen coming up, and if they respond to you quickly, then that means that, first of all, that their customer service is fantastic. But second of all, it means that they're listening and they're very attentive to everybody that's putting in any kind of message. So when anybody messages you as the business, it behoves you to actually respond very quickly. Normally, if you imagine, when people are putting any kind of message into a business, they expect a response within the hour, whereas most businesses won't respond within 4 hours or even a couple of days. And the unfortunate problem with that is, unless you respond quite quickly, Facebook is going to mark you down as bad customer service. And therefore, it will indicate to people who are thinking about messaging you, don't even bother, because these guys don't even reply within a couple of days or even a couple of weeks. So therefore, that will instantly put people off messaging you. So therefore, make sure you got all your alerts set up on your phone, you got your notifications, so that if a message comes into your business, it pings straight away and you can go straight in and make some kind of reply. There is the possibility of having away notices. We're going to be going into that in a bit more detail. But again, be very careful about using them all the time and not replying very quickly as well. And also, you can have the Facebook chat plugin, which is a new phenomenon. This was just developed like last year. And you can basically make sure that that plugin goes straight into your website. And therefore, people can communicate to you directly through Messenger, even if they're not on Facebook. So I don't know if you've seen that type of thing before. You go onto somebody or some business's website, and then up pops this kind of messenger, kind of chat bot type of experience. And then you can put instantly in your question, your query, and then hopefully through the process, there'll be a human that actually responds to you. And it doesn't matter if that person is on Facebook or not. So that's the really fun thing about using the chat bot. And then you can send people from an email that you sent to them or from your website straight into Facebook Messenger as well. So it's another phenomenal way for driving people to a specific place where you can enhance the communication process and experience. So you just copy that link and then off you go to the races. So sending to Messenger is very, very simple as well. Give your customers the option to receive notifications from you in Facebook Messenger. So here's one of the real reasons why it's even more powerful than email. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to sending out your newsletter list, the open rate for most businesses tend to be around the 20 to 30%. Whereas if you're sending out messages or the equivalent of emails through your Facebook Messenger, you'll often find that the open rate is more like 90 to 95%. So therefore, it's a phenomenal way for making sure you get a message out to a whole bunch of targeted people. However, again, I would advise you to use it sparingly, because people can get very annoyed if you're creeping up in their inbox all the time. So use it very, very judiciously, just maybe to say, okay, the meeting, the workshop is happening in 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Make sure you're all got your pens and papers ready and you're logged in so you can get your cup of coffee and things like that. You know, very light touch kind of messages as opposed to the heavy sales messages. And then you can use it as a checkbox. Display a checkbox in forms so your customers can opt in to receive messages and updates through Facebook Messenger. And again, people can actually, rather than just put in add to cart, they can actually add to cart and then send a message at the same time as well. And you can see how it looks there on the phone. And it just makes that whole kind of sales process much easier. Say, for example, you're in the process of actually making an acquisition, you're about to purchase a course, or you're about to purchase that jumper, and then you just want to do a last minute question before you actually hit add, move from add to cart to actually purchase. And then you can engage customers with your messages. And one of the fun things is with your business inbox is they can all be at this in there at the same place. What we're going to be covering as we go through this is you can actually integrate your Facebook and your Instagram inbox so that they're all in the same space. So all the messages coming into your inbox, it will be coming from this person, that person, the other person, and it will also say whether it's come from Facebook or Instagram or Messenger or other places. So you can respond to customer messages from your Messenger app, and you can respond to them as the business, or you can respond to them as the person as well. And it often helps. Well, so you can decide what works for your particular organization, whether you're going to be responding as the person or as the page. Often, if it's the most senior person in the organization, it's a very good idea to use your personal profile, because then that gets a sense of, yes, my issues are being taken seriously. And if it's a less senior person, then they might want to answer as the page, for example. But if you kind of know people, it's always a good idea, if you're answering as the page, to answer the question and then say, you know, thanks from Bettina type thing. So everybody knows who they're talking to within the organization. Or even if you use a kind of nickname rather than your actual name, if you don't want to reveal it, it helps to personalize that whole process rather than keeping it bland and anonymous. So if I'm getting messages in from Nike, for example, I'm like, yeah, but who am I talking to? Is it Arthur or is it Billy or whatever? It's that way of trying to make it as personable as possible so that the customer experience is massively enhanced. So how to respond to messages? The answer is you've got to be super responsive. You got to monitor trends. You got to set expectations. You got to answer sensitive questions very carefully. We're not covering negative issues today, but I do cover that in other workshops. So if you're having problems with a whole bunch of negativity online, let's have a talk and we can set up some workshops for you and your team. And then also write the way that you speak. Again, with social media, as I keep repeating time and time again, this is not the place where you want to be bland and use jargon and be appropriate and all that type of thing. It's much more interesting for people to have a much more personable experience. Just think about how people communicate when they're communicating from Virgin, for example. They get that tone right because they're not trying to be too kind of stiff upper lip type of people. So just come across as human, but still professional, and then you'll win the crowd massively. And as I said, make it as personal and personable as possible, and try and make it as warm and effusive as possible. Because remember, nobody remembers what the actual words were that you used. People will remember how you made them feel and the energy that went into those words as well. So if you're thinking to yourself, this person is really annoying, asking all these stupid questions, and then you answer in a very professional tone, it actually does come across as a bit snappy sometimes. So if you're responding in that kind of vein, I would ask you to check yourself and then rethink what kind of energy is going to be the best energy to present your information, so that therefore the words flow harmoniously to that person in terms of how you're making them feel by how you're structuring your words. So it's also a possibility to have a very personalized service. So you can see here the example of all different kinds of people who have messaged into the Lucky Shrub business. And then there is a quick, sounds good, thanks for messaging us, excellent. Or you could even send in a quick voice message, which is even more powerful than ever, or even a quick video message. Thanks, your message, your question was really important, or thanks for your comment, we really appreciate it, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Thanks for your consultation. And then you can use emojis and all that good stuff as well. So the trick is to be as responsive as possible. As I said, within the hour is the optimum scenario. And then welcome people, welcome customers with a greeting. Rather than just jump in and answer their whatever question that they've given you, always offer them a greeting, because, you know, culturally speaking, some people are like, oh, goodness me, that's a very rude organization. They can't even greet me. So what I mean by greeting is just saying, hello, how are you? Lovely to meet you type of introduction, and then go straight into answering their particular question. And the good thing is you can set it up in the settings section, then you go into messaging, and then you start a messenger conversation. And this is basically where the artificial intelligence kicks in. You can decide what your questions are, what the questions are that most people are tending to ask you, and then also put in a canned response type thing. So if, for example, you're not going to be available 100% to be able to respond to these messages whenever they come in, you can set up an automatic greeting, which gives them an automatic answer as soon as they put something into the messenger. However, if you have that automatic greeting on, I would strongly recommend that you dive in there as soon as possible to be able to actually put in some kind of human message. It's basically a holding position so that people know that there's some kind of kickback, some kind of response has happened, that you value their outreach and their attempts to communicate with you, but you still have to get in there within the hour, even if you set up your automatic message, okay? And then the good thing is you can actually personalize it. You can say, hi, and then leave a space for actually putting in their first name, and then the artificial intelligence will pick up the first name from the message that they've already put in, and then you add that whole process like that. So then the other factor you need to think about is monitoring trends, and you can respond instantly with saved replies. So if everybody's always saying things like, you know, is there free parking, right? Or what are your opening hours? What time do you close? Or do you do packaging? Or do you wrap the presents? You know, if you get all of those kinds of questions coming in on a regular, well, then you can actually set up your whole process so that the artificial intelligence picks up some of those keywords, and then you actually craft your responses as saved replies, which kick off as soon as that question comes in there. So here you can see somebody has said, whoa, totally thought these were plastic plants, haha. And then somebody else, then the company has says, nope, they're the real deal. Are you interested in purchasing a plant from us? Let us know, and we can help you pick the perfect one out. So obviously that's something that they've been getting quite often in their business as a plant shop. And so therefore you can kind of anticipate the main questions and set it up accordingly. And you can see here, even with when you're going through the setup process, Messenger is actually going to suggest, okay, what about this answer? What about this answer? What about that answer? Because as we know, everybody can have the best will in the world, but they don't necessarily have the best diplomacy available. So again, Messenger kicks in and helps you with crafting a canned response, which is going to help make sure that you're coming across as super friendly and super professional and answering the question at the same time. So there you go. You just click on, you just go through that process. It's very step by step as you're going through it. Add the personalization. You can decide whether it's the last name or the first name or the Facebook page link. Go through that process, click on add, stick in your message, and then save. You can even add a photo. You can even add, and that's the process for adding the different photos that you might need. You might even put in a catalog of photos if it's required for the particular question. And there you go. That's your saved reply. And that gets stored in there, ready for anybody to use those kinds of keywords. Okay. So there you want to be thinking about managing expectations. What kind of ways are they going to be talking to you? And what happens if they're speaking to you outside of office hours, depending on what your office hours are. If you're finishing at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, you can set up your away status to just say, hi, we can't always reply to messages that come in after UK office hours, but we'll get back to you as soon as possible type thing. And again, if you are available to get back to them, get back to them, within reason. Obviously, some clients, they do kind of push it a little bit. So it's good to train them to get some kind of response in quickly. But as soon as you get back to work, like if work is starting at 9 o'clock the next day, get right in there and do your customer service bit and make sure you're putting in some kind of reply. No matter whether you set up the automatic messages. And you can see here that you've got all the kind of charts and graphs that will guide you as to how many people have been putting in the questions, what time of day they've been putting in the questions, what kind of away messages are happening, what time do you want them to kick off, what happens at the weekends, what happens when you're away doing workshops and things like that, or what happens when you're away doing conferences. Are you going to set up the away messages, or are you going to get somebody else to kind of listen in? So best practices are, write a welcome greeting. Hi, welcome, how are you doing? Set expectations with instant replies. Hi there, thank you for reaching out. We'll be with you in a moment. And again, you got to mean it. Don't be coming back a couple of hours later. In a moment means ASAP Rocky. So get those notification pings happening on your phone so that you can get back to them ASAP. And that's because that's literally what people are looking for when they're leaving a message with a business. Use an away message if you can't be there, and write the way that you speak. Thanks for asking. Our business hours are Monday to Saturday, 10 till 7. We are closed Sundays. Manage your messages on the go. You don't even have to think about doing it just on your desktop. You can download the Facebook Business Suite. This is that fantastic tool that I was talking about earlier, where you can manage all of your inboxes, your Instagram and your Facebook inboxes on one particular app. So you go into either the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on what type of phone you have. Then you download the Facebook Business Suite, and then all of a sudden you have the ability to not just respond in one place to all the messages coming into your business, but you can also publish to the different businesses on, not the different businesses, to the different platforms. And you can schedule those posts as well to Instagram and Facebook at the same time. We're not going to cover that one today. We'll cover that one in a different session. But that is the power of using the Facebook Business Suite. If you don't have the ability to use the Facebook Business Suite, they are bringing it in and they are optimizing it all the time. You might want to just use the Facebook Creator Studio, which also has the same functionality. Eventually, they will be merged. But for now, it's Facebook Business Suite or Facebook Creator Studio to be able to manage all of your inboxes in one place. And then the fun part about it is as well, if you've got a whole team of people that are responding, you can put labels on the type of responses, and you can assign different people to do the different responses. You could even say, okay, is this a new customer? Is this an important customer? Is it a VIP? Is this a referral? Is this a follow-up? What kind of date? You can label all of them so that at the end of the month, you've got a great chart of how quickly you've responded, who was assigned to respond, if there was any difficulties, what was the escalation process. Obviously, if it's a small organization, there's only 1 or 2 people managing it, you don't necessarily need that level of complexity. But this is all about making sure that even the large, super large teams with tens of people working in the social media marketing team can actually make sure that they're not stumbling over each other's toes, and the customer is getting the service that they need. So again, whether you're using the Facebook Business Suite or you're using it natively within Facebook Messenger, respond to messages promptly, track and respond to the messages you receive on Facebook and Instagram in one place, even when you're on the go. So as I was saying, there was a worksheet that goes with this. And the key takeaways are: stay connected with your customers using Facebook Messenger. Make it easy for customers to reach out to you. Engage your customers with messages and manage your communications on the go. So that's pretty much it for today. Let me just close this down. All right, any questions? Hello, Miss Mel. I can see your wee face now. Let me just switch off the recording.